Hey guys, welcome to Windshine Audio. I'm Alvin, the founder of the company based in Singapore. If you follow my previous video, I talk about the linear power supply that you may be able to use to power up your audio equipment. I'll also talk about how to identify whether your equipment comes with linear power supply or it comes with a switch mode power supply internally and what you can do to further upgrade the equipment. So today this video is going to be the Lumin U2 Mini or the U1 Mini internal power supply upgrade. I gotta do this disclaimer before I perform the work. Any modification to the device will void the manufacturer warranty. So do this only if you are absolutely sure what you're doing. Otherwise, it may be disastrous. I'm an electronic trained person, so I've been doing this work very often and I can handle this pretty well. But if you're not and you have no confidence in proceeding the work, please do not modify the equipment or leave it to the professional. You might have technician, engineers or electronic shop nearby that may be able to help you with this modification. But here we are, and let me show you what are the tools required to upgrade the Lumin U1 or U2 Mini streamer. First of all, you need to have a linear power supply. You can use this LHY Audio LPS 25VA. It's supply 12 volts at 2 ampere, or you can opt for the bigger one, and this is the LPS 80VA and it's supply 12 volts VDC at about 5 ampere. So I have the power supply unit here, and you need to have a kit like this. This is offered by LHY Audio. It is a kit for Lumin U1 or U2 Mini. I think it is also for the Lumin T1, but I'm not sure. I will need to check it out. And this is a kit that replaces the internal switch mode power supply with capacitor bank. And this not only it is a capacitor bank, it also comprises of inductor, film caps, and electrolyte caps. And this is the connector that allows you to connect the DC power cable to this connector here, and after going through this filtering circuitry, it outputs the DC power supply to the circuitry in the Lumin U1 or U2 Mini. For now, I'll just say U2 Mini because the unit I have here is U2 Mini. Okay, this is the kit that you need along with the power supply. Of course, there are some tools that you need as well. A Torx screwdriver. This is the Allen key. I'm not sure whether you need it. I'm just having here on the table just in case I need it later. A Phillips screwdriver, a tweezer, and a wire cutter. Right, let me proceed with the work. And this is the first time I'm doing this on the Lumin U2 Mini, and I'm not sure whether I will make any mistake, but please bear with me if I do. There are a couple of screws that you need to remove at the bottom. There are 8 screws that is holding the top cover. Remove the 8 screws, and there are a couple of screws here that secure the internal metal casing of the switch mode power supply. You need to remove the screw as well. One thing to note, if you have trouble removing this little screw here right beside the footer, you need to remove this footer first. How to remove it? There's this velvet here. You need to tear it off and use a bigger Torx screw or Allen key to unscrew this footer and remove it before you can access this small little screw here. Okay, let me proceed with the work. I already have most of the screw removed, so you guys don't have to see me losing the screw and taking a long time doing it. Right, 8 screws removed, and just pop the cover open like this. Nice metal sound. Okay, this cover, and put this safely aside. We are going to need this later. And again, this is the casing that is encasing the switch mode power supply. You need to remove this as well. And there are 3 screws that is holding this casing. So just remove them. It uses the same screw size, the Torx screws. Oops. And you may just use the same screwdriver to loosen the screws and put the screws safely aside. You may need it later or you may not. I don't know. Okay, I have the cover. Hang on a second. There are 4 screws. There are 4 screws to remove. And we can feel that the cover is loosened. Okay, here we go. This metal casing is loosened, and before we even take this out from the unit, we need to remove this DC cable. There's this little latch here. You need to press on the latch and pull it out from the circuit board. Okay, we have the DC cable loosened, and we'll need to slide this guy out gently, treat it like a Lumin. I always say this. And move it out of the chassis carefully. Here we go. This is the metal casing that is encasing the switch mode power supply, and this is how the switch mode power supply look like. I think we are going to need to cut some of the wire. Let's see if I can take this switch mode power supply out of the unit first. So this guy is secure using the two screw here. Before filming this video, I tried to loosen the screw. The screw are pretty tight, so if the torque screwdriver is not big enough, it may not have enough strength to loosen the screw. Then I'm going to need a plier like this to hold this and turn the screwdriver around pretty hard. You're gonna to apply some strength here. Okay, I already have them loosened, so I can do it quite easily, and I can feel that the screwdriver is a little bit smaller. Oh, that's interesting. It's a lot shorter. Whoops. And if I were to remove this, and the switch mode power supply will be out of the chassis. Okay, let me flip it around. Whoops. You can see that the switch mode power supply is dangling. And it says Minwell Power Supply. It's a Taiwanese company. Again, it outputs 12 volt at 2 ampere. So this LHY Audio 25 VA linear power supply is enough. And if you want to opt for a bigger one, the LPS 50 VA and the 80 VA will do the job as well. We will not be needing this unit anymore. I'm just not going to mark the cable here, and I'll be using this Phillips screwdriver to unscrew all the wires, or rather unscrew the screw and remove the wire from this linear power supply. Again, do this gently. You do not want to scratch the precious streamer chassis. It is a pretty nice looking one. Right, I've loosened 5 screws. Just take it out. I hope it is a fork lock. No, it's not a fork lock. It's a ring lock. A ring lock is more tedious. You need to remove the screw completely before you can remove the wire. Whereas a fork lock is like a fork shape. You will need to just loosen the screw and it can be removed right away. But this is the ring lock. So it is a ring looking like. So we call it a ring lock. I'm an electronic trained engineer. I work in the industry for close to 15 years before I call it a quit and pursue this career full time. So we deal with all this industrial lock, fork lock or ferrule quite often. So if you are an electronic engineer, you should know what I'm talking about. Okay, and this is the DC cable. The rest of the 3 are AC wire. So this is the small little switch mode power supply that Lumin used in U1, U2 Mini. Okay, we'll not need this anymore. Just leave it aside. Okay, what do we have here? A streamer without the switch mode power supply, but we have some leftover stuff here where I think we have no choice but to cut them away. Okay, we're going to remove this IEC power socket, and by the look of this thing here, we are not going to remove the switch, and we will not be using the switch as well. Reason being is the linear power supply that we sell comes with a switch. So as soon as you turn on the switch, it supplies the power to the unit right away. So we do not need to have a double switching. We do not need to have a double power switch in this case. So what I will do is I'll cut the wire here on the switch and cut the other wire on the switch as well. By then, the IEC power socket will be freely available to pull out. And I'm not sure whether I can cut the wire using my left hand. I'm a right-handed person, but I'll just do it. A wire cutter, it's a pretty good one. ESD free. Okay, just cut it away. There's no turning back after this. Okay, so the wire is out and we'll need to use the torque screwdriver to remove this IC connector. Okay, one screw. The screw is in black color, so you might want to keep it somewhere safely. We are gonna need the screw for this little module here. Okay, now the two screws are loosened. We can pop this IC connector out. So this is the IC connector, and I think the quality is fine. Okay, what to do with this wire? We may cut it away as well, and I'm just going to cut it away. We do need the switch, so the switch will be, it's going to be a dummy one where it covers the hole, but we are not using the switch anymore. Just cut the wire away. Right, wire is out. Okay, we will have two little end wire here, but doesn't matter. It's not going to short anything inside. And I notice as I cut the wire, there are some dust here. You might want to blow it away, or just use a blower to blow it away. And here we are, a streamer without the power supply unit. And this little module here is going to sit here. And let's see how to fit this thing here. Okay, this little module here is going to sit here. And why is it in this position is because we need to use this DC connector and connect this to the circuit board. Right, so it's going to be in this orientation, and the wire is long enough to reach the back. I hope you guys can see. Okay, there's this little concern here. If we were to mount this in this direction, we are going to need two nuts. I'm not sure whether I have nuts or not, but if we were to mount this in this direction, we don't need the nuts. Let me explain it to you later. So slot this guy in, and we are going to screw this this little DC connector and the plate and the metal plate onto the chassis in this fashion. There are two nuts at the back of this chassis where it is welded to the chassis, and we can make use of the two nuts that is welded to the chassis to continue the mounting. If we were to mount in the other fashion where this black color plate is at the back of the chassis, we are going to need two extra nuts. I'm not going to do it because I have not prepared the nut. And if we were to do it the other way, and it's going to leave a small little hole here. Let me show you. If we're going to mount this in this fashion, there's this small little hole here that might invite some insect dust. So I'm going to do it like this, where it will be fit nicely. So my recommendation is to fit the connector in this fashion. And let me just screw it on so that this thing can be secured. So again, this is the first time I'm doing this. Please pardon the video quality. I think this is the first time and the last time I will do this. I only have one Lumin U2 Mini. Okay, one screw, the other screw. Okay, here we go. Right, just to make sure it is fitted nicely, not slanted, so that it is visually pleasant. So tighten the screw, and we are in order. Okay, this is the orientation of the module. You may use double-sided tape at the bottom to stick it at the bottom of the chassis. Again, I do not have the double-sided tape prepared today, but it's going to work well in this position. It is insulated by this pretty thick transparent insulation sleeve, so it will not be shorting the circuitry on this board here, so it is fine. So if you have, my recommendation is to use double-sided tape and tape it to the bottom of the chassis. Okay, and this little connector here is going to fit in this position. So let me just clip it. You'll hear one a small click sound. So there's this latch here to prevent this connector from accidentally pulling out. So if you want to loosen this connector, you got to press on this and unlatch it. So I'm going to connect this and we are done. So this is how it looks like after the modification. So it's pretty neat and nice looking. It's the PCB of this little filtering circuit here is in black color, so it matches pretty well with the Lumin PCB. And please use a double-sided tape to secure this module to the chassis. And for now, I'm going to leave it like that, but after the video, I'm going to stick it at the bottom of the chassis so that it will not move around as I move this unit. Okay, so once it is done, if you're electronic trained, you know what you're doing. You may leave the cover open and apply the power. But if you're afraid of accident may happen, something may drop onto the board, my recommendation is to close the cover. Close the cover and you may start to secure the screw. But for the sake of shortening this video, I'm going to leave it like that. And the power supply of LHY audio comes with this DC 5.5mm outer diameter and 2.5mm inner diameter connector, where it can be connected to this Lumin U2 mini or U1 mini power supply module to power up this guy. So this is the cable that you need, and it comes with the linear power supply that we offer. And you will need to have this Ethernet cable connection to the unit so that it can be detected under the same network, so that it will have some display. Otherwise, it's going to be an empty display or with a simple display that you do not know whether it is turned on or not. So I'm going to connect this DC 5525 5.5mm outer diameter, 2.5mm inner diameter connector to the unit. And this is how it looks like after the connection. You no longer have the power cord IEC inlet. It is already replaced with DC 5525. And we'll turn on the unit. This is the moment. No smoke, no short circuit, it will work. Turn on the unit, 12 volt DC, and the unit should turn on in a bit. Right, it says Lumin. After a couple of seconds later, it will boot up and it will display the last song that you play on this Lumin U2 Mini. It's a pretty straightforward modification, but again, I have to stress this, the disclaimer. Modification of any product will void the manufacturer warranty. So do this only if you are absolutely comfortable with no warranty support. And if you are absolutely sure what you are doing and there's no disaster after the modification, then I will recommend the modification. Otherwise, you are perfectly fine with the internal linear power, not a linear power supply. You are perfectly fine with the switch mode power supply that comes with the unit, and you may just forget about this video and do not think about the upgrade. Or if you are someone who is engineering trained like me to help you in the modification in your country, you may proceed with the modification. Otherwise, just use the internal power supply. It is perfectly fine. It has always been a controversy where modification like this, whether it brings improvement to the unit or not, I'll leave it to the customer. Again, something coming out from me, the seller who sell the module as well as the linear power supply. Please take it as a pinch of salt. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye. Is the unit still power on? Yeah, it is. The unit is still on. Bye again.